you have been able to enjoy this gloomy day as much as possible. It's kind of been like this all day. It's been sprinkling, kind of shitty outside, but hey, that's all right. We're indoors. We're ready to get things moving. Now, today we might have a little quicker show than usual, but that kind of all depends really on how long my mouth decides to keep running, because we know that it happens from time to time. So, anyways, let's get to some football. Are you ready to get your fix? Well, to start, and actually, what we're gonna do today is so I seen a post from Bleacher Report, Gridiron. It's a football it's a football account for Bleacher Report. Okay, they talk about everything NFL, college, and all that stuff. Okay, so I seen a post that said, when will the rookie quarterbacks that were drafted rounds 1 through 7 start? And that's what we're gonna talk about. I'm gonna give you guys my take compared to what they were saying. So to get started, pretty much how we're going to do this is we're going to go from like the first guy who was drafted, like first quarterback who was drafted, all the way to the last quarterback that was drafted, and I don't know, give you my 2 cents of what I think might happen and how it might happen. So to get started, let's go with Trevor Lawrence, drafted round 1, pick 1, Jacksonville Jaguars. Okay, ooh, excuse me. Anyways, I have him starting week 1. Okay, this is Gardner Minshew is going to end up being that backup. And he's going to be a very, very good backup. Okay? Jeez. Just a burp after burp. Probably this water over here I got going. But he's going to be a very good backup. Okay? In 2019, 3,271 yards, 21 touchdowns, 6 interceptions, and only 12 starts. Okay? Then 2020, he had 2,259 yards, 16 touchdowns, 5 interceptions, and 8 starts. So he's, he's pretty solid. Okay? Really not much more you could say about Gardner Minshew, besides he has that ability to be an NFL starter in this league, whether that's with the Jags if Trevor Lawrence doesn't pan out, or somewhere else. He has the ability to be a starter in this league. So he's going to be a good backup. But I do have Trevor Lawrence starting. Now Jacksonville, that was really a big step for them, getting a guy who and they could bump up their offensive line and give Trevor Lawrence a little bit more protection. But hey, this is a good starting point. So I have Trevor Lawrence starting week 1. So now we're going to go over to the guy who was drafted in the first round, second pick by the New York Jets, Zach Wilson. Now, he's got a record, and I think his record was 9-7. So they've had a major quarterback problem, okay? And they want to, the quarterback position is a really big piece, okay, in order to get the team moving in the right direction. We talked about that with Trevor Lawrence just now, okay? Jaguars knew, okay, didn't have too much of a quarterback problem, but they knew that there was a better option out there for them to try to succeed and go in that right direction. But now the Jets, they just haven't figured it out, okay? And whether that's head coaching, ownership, personnel, it could be anything really, okay? It could be the whole team. But this is a good start. And they needed to go get a quarterback that they think is going to put them back in that win column. Not going to be right away. Promise you that. It's the Jets, okay? We've seen how many years now that the Jets are just awful, okay? Not the greatest. Now, the past 4 quarterbacks for the Jets, okay, has been Mark Sanchez, and before him was Brett Favre, we just talked about. But Mark Sanchez, Geno Smith, Ryan Fitzpatrick, and Sam Darnold. I mean, Mark Sanchez, really out of those group of 4, was the guy for quite some time. Still didn't have a winning record with the Jets. Guy was a wide receiver, transitioned into a quarterback for the Jets, and really didn't help them much. Okay, Geno Smith, in and out. Ryan Fitzpatrick really was just a filler for a season or two for the Jets, or 1 season for the Jets, because they thought, hey, Sam Darnold's right there. Let's go take Sam. Let's see if he can turn this around. Well, Sam couldn't do it either. Okay, the Jets are just bad. No protection. They have had weapons, not really, but they have had them. And without the stars at those weapons, like the wide receiver, the running back, and the tight end, this is a big reason why Sam Darnold really didn't succeed. No protection, was always having to run outside the pocket and get things done, okay, on his feet. And you really can't do that, especially I look at Sam Darnold as more of a pocket passer, okay? He can go out and get things done on his feet like we've seen all last year. But he's mainly a pocket passer. He has that big presence back there. And if you give him weapons like he has now in Carolina, he's going to at least succeed somewhat better than when he was with the Jets last year and season before that and whatever. But none of them really seem to be the right fit for the New York Jets. Okay, this team is really a lost cause. Now, I don't want to say that too much because obviously things can turn around in the flip of a switch and go from there. But at the same time, at this point, right now, this season, last season, the years, 3-4 years before that, they've been a lost cause. Okay, and hopefully they're in the right direction. This really, being that all those quarterbacks weren't the right fit, they got rid of Sam Darnold, they traded him or whatever. They knew they were going to go take a quarterback. Now, this led me to believe that even though Zach Wilson can be pretty solid, we've seen him in quarterback at BYU. He was very, very consistent, solid, a very good quarterback, made a lot of good plays. Okay, we've seen that his pro day when he made that crossbody throw, like 1,000 yards, it seemed like. It was awesome. But he's going to have a very, very tough first couple years with the Jets. And that's just, that's literally anybody that's going to be a Jet in the future. It's going to be a very hard couple of years to even get going and get on the right foot and in the right direction. But this could be a starting point. Last year 4-12, last in their division, really not that good. Okay, they went 4-12. Jeez. But anyways, getting Zach Wilson at number 2 could help them a lot. Okay, we've talked about it. And that's why I just keep saying about that. So that's how I look at that. So after Zach Wilson, in the first round, the pick number 3, the 49ers drafted Trey Lance. Okay, I know I've been pretty high on this guy. We really only have about 1 season of film on him to really, kind of, how do you want to say it, grade him on what his ability is and what he can do on the football field. But I don't care, okay, because college football and the NFL football, it's college and NFL, okay? It's a whole different ball game, okay? So with that being said, who knows if he can play? I think he can. No interceptions that whole 1 year, except for last year. We only played that 1 game. You can't ask for a better quarterback. 4,000 plus yards passing, almost. It was either close to 1,000 or I can't remember. I think we talked about it. But the guy was really good piece of that NDSU offense. Now, I believe, as much as I said he's probably going to get a starting role very, very quickly, I don't think it's going to be week 1. I do think it's going to be week 3. And I say week 3 because the first 2 games, that bit my lip almost. That could have been bad. But the 49ers, for the first 2 games, okay, they're at the Lions, and then they're at the Eagles. And I feel like Jimmy Garoppolo might struggle a little bit in those games. Okay, So the Lions, last year they got Jeff Okudah, they got another good corner this year, I can't remember exactly who, but the Lions have an all-right secondary, okay? They have, not the greatest, but they have an all-right one where I think, before I say any more about that, their defensive line, really, it's okay. Not the greatest, again. Their defense is subpar at best, okay? So that leads me to believe that running game is going to be the go-to move right from the get-go, okay? They're going to run, and they're going to only pass a handful of times. Now, we've seen, in the playoffs, I think, not last year, but 2 years ago, Jimmy Garoppolo only threw 10 passes or something crazy. Maybe that was in the Super Bowl. But still, only 10 passes. So that means they don't trust Jimmy throwing the ball. Or that they didn't trust their wide receivers at the time, which I think they had decent enough wide receivers. I just don't think Jimmy Garoppolo is as accurate as we are led to believe. So this is why I think, and then you go to the Eagles. Sorry, before we get ahead of myself here. We go to the Eagles. They've been so hit and miss, okay, that they can be really, really good, and then all of a sudden half good, okay, not as good as they could be. But with that being said, does that secondary, do those defensive backs make it tough on Jimmy Garoppolo. Okay, they have a nice offensive line. They still got Fletcher Cox there. They got some meat up front. So that run game is going to be a little tougher to get going right away, but at the same time, I think that's going to be their go-to because that is their identity, and that has been their identity for the last couple years. Okay, now with that is the reason I think Jimmy Garoppolo might struggle. So week 3 comes, right, and this is going to force Kyle Shanahan from those 2 weeks to give Trey Lance a chance to see if he actually, can get that passing attack going, be that guy that's going to have, 20 attempts a game, okay, like 150 plus yards passing, one or two touchdowns, and maybe like 1 or no picks, okay? And I think, like, with that being said, he wants to make sure, okay, they draft him for a reason, number 3, very, very high draft pick. They have to use him at some point. Whether they don't or they do, whatever. But I personally, I think they need to use him, okay? Jimmy Garoppolo obviously hasn't been cutting it. At least that's what it seems like because, obviously they go get Trey Lance to pick number 3 when they could have took Kyle Pitts. Okay, they do have George Kittle, but at the same time you can move Kyle Pitts to the wide receiver position or have 2, tight ends split, and they'd be just fine. But they took Trey Lance, okay? They were set on this guy. Now, week 3, being that I have him starting week 3, this is going to be a very, very big test, okay? Because the 49ers are going to be hosting the Green Bay Packers, okay? And they have solid defensive backs. And I also said week 3 that they're going to try Trey Lance is because they're at home. That is big. Give him that home atmosphere. Give him that home crowd. That those fans are going to go nuts. Make him probably play and perform a lot better than if he were, like, let's say, if they were at Lambeau. He's going to have a very, very tough time. But being at home, it could help him, could boost his performance, like I just noted. Okay, but with those solid defensive backs, okay, this would give the 49ers a really, really good look at Trey Lance and see if he has what it takes to be an NFL starter, to play in this league. And if not, it's still too early. Week 3, you still have next year and the year after that. Because I don't know if you guys have noticed, but I have noticed that the first 3 years, okay, of a quarterback, and it's probably a little bit of every position at the same time, but mainly quarterback is really, really noticeable. The first 3 years, you know what you got and what you don't. Okay, is he going to be a starter? Is he going to be a backup, or is he going to be a practice squad player? He has to go back to college and maybe start coaching. Okay, that's how this plays out. So Trey Lance has a lot of room to improve. And if he goes out there week 3 against Green Bay, doesn't do so hot, you still got Jimmy. Bring him in there, see what Jimmy can do. Because in my eyes, I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo could perform better than Trey Lance against the Green Bay Packers just because, Jimmy can't throw. He obviously can, being an NFL quarterback, but not at a high enough level where he should be, okay? And with those defensive backs like Jareer Alexander, it's going to be tough, okay? It's going to have to be a tight end type of game. They're going to have to find their tight end. They're going to have to find a slot receiver. They're going to have to run or, do a bunch of halfback screens and stuff like that, dumps. Because there's not going to be a lot of big plays, okay? But like I said, this gives the 49ers a chance to see, can he play against some a good team, a high caliber team, and perform to the best of his ability. Make, plays. What's passing yards? How many picks did he get? Did he get a touchdown or 2? What was his completion like? Stuff like that, okay? And if he checks those boxes and does all right, keeps the 49ers in the game, it's a close one or something, make a touchdown or 10 points, from that point on, I feel like it's going to be Trey Lance's team, okay? But who knows? I just think that early on, like week 1, week 2, we're probably going to see Jimmy. For sure, week 1 probably depends. Like, it all depends on preseason, training camp, rookie minicamp. All of that stuff plays into it. And Jimmy Garoppolo's coming off an ankle injury, and who knows how that's going to be. I'm pretty sure it was an ankle injury. Don't count on that 100%. I just, off the top of my head, I'm pretty sure that's what it was. But who knows what Jimmy's going to do, how well he's going to be passing. And I think Trey Lance is a perfect fit for the 49ers. And, hey, getting a start at home, his first start at home against the Green Bay Packers, against a top-tier team, would be awesome to see. And it'd be a good test. So now we got through the first 3 picks. right there. We're going to go to Justin Fields, who's drafted round 1, pick 11 by the Chicago Bears. Talked about this a couple times. I got him starting week 1. Okay? Now, the Bears head coach, okay, has come out recently. I can't remember if it was this week. I think it was this weekend, like early last week and this weekend, that he said Andy Dalton is going to be the starter going forward at this point. Well, no shit. I mean, you really haven't seen anything from Justin Fields. Hasn't really took the field. Hasn't played an NFL team. Obviously, Andy Dalton's going to be a starter. I mean, he could have literally came on and said Nick Foles is going to be the starter. And I'd be like, well, yeah, duh. Like, you got to have a guy that's already there at that number 1 spot, and then piece it together as that, as all these mini camps and training camp and preseason comes together. That's when you start piecing the puzzle together and see who is where and why they're there. Okay? So, with that, however, I believe this is going to change. Okay, like I said, talking about training camp preseason. Like, he said Andy Dalton's a starter. It's going to change, okay, come training camp or even preseason. They're going to split reps in the preseason. They have 3 games this year instead of 4, and what they pretty much did is take that 4th preseason game and shove it way in the back of the end of the regular season. But they're going to split snaps. They're going to see right from the get-go who's going to be the guy, if their players mold better with Andy or Justin Fields or Nick Foles. It's just that's what's going to happen. Okay, they're going to split the reps, but I think honestly Fields is going to win that starting job. He's hungry. I thought he should have went not a lot higher, but maybe a little higher. You could probably flip Trey Lance and him around, but like I said, the 49ers were sold on Trey Lance. They went and got him at 3, so there's nothing you can do. But the Bears' quarterback problem and running problem is a big thing. And that's why they took Justin Fields, because Justin Fields can pass, and the dude can run. Okay? He's like if I had to compare him, it'd be like a Kyler Murray mixed with like a Cam Newton kind of thing, where he kind of like, you do it both, right? But it's equal. Like, it's not too overpowering for the run game or the passing game, and or underpowering. It's like, it's perfect. It's a perfect mesh. This is a good draft by the Bears. Okay, now if the Bears decide to go out and, Lord help me, they do start Andy Dalton, okay, so be it. I can see why, and that's just fine. Okay, but like I said, if they do, I have a feeling it's going to be the same situation as it was when Mitchell Trubisky was drafted, when they went up and decided to say, hey, well, I want that guy. And it didn't work out. Okay, so I honestly think if they do that, it's going to be a very, very bad situation for Bears fans. Bears fans are going to be livid, but they need to start Fields. Okay, they need to. And the reason I say that is they need to build chemistry with the wide receivers, the tight end group, the running back group, the whole offensive line. Granted, if he doesn't know the playbook entirely, Tom Brady didn't know the fucking playbook for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers till about week 12, they said. Okay, so it doesn't really matter. If he can play football at a high level and at an NFL level, he can go out there and just, see who the open guy is and make his selection then and throw the ball over there. Okay, so they need to start him. They need to build that chemistry. Plus, if he fails at starting, which, who knows? It could very easily happen. Okay? They have 2 guys right behind him who have shown they're capable of being NFL starters in this league. Andy Dalton with the Cowboys, with the Bengals for a long, long time. Okay, then Nick Foles went and won a Super Bowl with the Eagles. What else do you want me to say about that? I think he played with the Rams, too, a little bit, and so he's been all over the place as well. He's shown he can be a starting quarterback, not the greatest. Nick Foles is more hit and miss. Andy Dalton was just dealt with a shitty situation with Cincinnati, but at the same time, he made the most of it and was pretty solid, at least I think. Okay, but they have 2 guys right behind Fields. If he does fail, that can step up great. Okay, now the Bears, with that being said, the Bears also traded up to get Justin Fields. So to me, like it did when they did Mitchell Trubisky, seems like they found their guy, and they wanted that guy. Okay, they went right ahead of the Giants, who apparently were pissed off that the Bears did that, and I don't know why. Daniel Jones is just fine. They took him really, really early. They got a wide receiver issue, a big one. None of their guys can do shit, honestly. Like, Evan Ingram is really, really good. He's a very good tight end, top-tier tight end, but the man's always hurt. That's your only guy. Okay, Sterling Shepard's okay. Not the greatest. What's the other guy? He was last year. He did pretty solid. I can't remember, but Golden Tate's even there. He can be okay, but again, he's not the greatest. And God, that one dude. What is his? Oh, whatever. But you get the gist. Okay, they have a wide receiver problem. But going back to this Justin Fields and the Bears. Okay. On the other hand, like I said, did it with Mitchell Trubisky, and it failed miserably. So I'd understand if they went with Andy Dalton week 1 over Fields, so that Fields has time to learn the playbook, talk to his coaching staff, build that chemistry off the field, and then when he's ready and the Bears think he's ready, send him out there and see what he actually can do. But again, I think the best way to see if a guy's actually ready or not is to put him in there. Get him in there. You went and got him for a reason. Don't let it go away. Don't spoil that relationship right from the get-go. Okay? I think Fields can overcome this. I think he has a lot of, he's hungry. He has that attitude that's built for this. Okay? So be ready for him to, come out firing on all cylinders. I just have a really good feeling that Justin Fields is going to be the starter week 1. Okay, now we're going over to the Patriots, who drafted Mac Jones in the round 1 with pick 15. Now, this is an interesting situation. They got Cam Newton, and they just signed Brian Hoyer, I believe, either yesterday or today. I can't 100% remember, but I know they signed Brian Hoyer again. But you really don't know what you're going to get. Okay, Cam Newton, I mean, we'll get to there, okay? But Mac Jones, I got him starting week 5. Now, Bill Belichick has said multiple times that he absolutely loves Cam Newton's work ethic and how he always is the first one in, last guy out, always starting the playbook, and all of this. So this leads me to believe, obviously, that Bill Belichick will have Mac Jones sit, kind of like when he had Tom Brady, or kind of like when Tom Brady was a rookie, and he had him sit until Drew Bledsoe got hurt, Tom Brady came in, and the rest was history. And I think that's going to be the same situation here. Not necessarily with Cam getting injured, even though he has been super injury prone in the past. I just don't think he's going to. If he does, whoops. But at the same time, I do think Cam's going to get that start. Now, Mac will need some time to soak in that playbook. I mean, everybody who's been in the Patriots organization, has come out of the Patriots organization, has said that it's a military experience, a military atmosphere there. It's like literally you're there at 5 o'clock and you have a set schedule, and it's the same schedule for every day. And, it's really, how do you want to say it? Consistent, okay? Something like that. Now, he's going to need that. He's going to need to learn the playbook a little bit, whereas Cam already knows the playbook, at least somewhat knows the playbook. I mean, obviously, Bill could add plays here and there, but right from the get-go, the playbook is kind of, not as, how you want to say it, not as complex as it is, in later in the year, okay? Right from the get-go, it's those simple plays that they already, have down, and really it's just a game plan against one team, where later in the year they're going to start adding things here and there. We could do this, we could do that, and I think that would be where Mac Jones could excel a little bit. But for right now, I think he needs to just sit, learn, and I think that's going to happen, especially with how much Bill is infatuated, if you will, with Cam Newton. Now, I also say week 5, because the first 4 games for the Patriots are home against the Dolphins, they're at the Jets, they're home against the Saints, and they're home against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they got 3 home games right off the bat, 1 away. Now, however, week 5, okay, the Patriots go travel to the Houston Texans. We've talked about them. They are bad, okay? Not very, very bad, but they are in a bad situation. They don't really know who their quarterback is going to be yet. And it's just one of those situations where it'd be a good time, okay, to see what you got, to see why you drafted him as high as you did. Now, this would be a perfect game to get Mac Jones on his feet and see if he's ready for the NFL. Okay, it's like all these quarterbacks. Get them in there. You drafted them so high, or really high because you had, good expectations and you had, you loved the guy, okay? There's a reason you took these guys. And there's a reason you did it in round one. Get these guys on the field because you don't know what you have until you see what you have. Okay? You can go all year in the practice squad or, on the bench and maybe go in one game and throw 2 balls and you're like 0 for 2 or like 1 for 2 and not doing that good, and then all of a sudden the next year you come in and you absolutely ball out like we've seen Patrick Mahomes do. So, it's one of those things. This would be a perfect game to get Mac Jones in, okay? See if he's ready. Plus, I think we've seen Cam Newton struggle a little bit, especially last year. He didn't struggle a lot, but you could tell the Patriots organization was just kind of in shambles, especially after Tom Brady left. They didn't have any money, no weapons. Their offensive line was really the only thing they had, and even then it was, it was tough. Okay, because like I said, like Aaron Rodgers said, you need all 11 guys on offense and defense to literally be on the same page. Otherwise, if one guy isn't, the whole play could be blown up, and that's the truth. Okay, so with Cam Newton struggling last year, okay, we've seen him have more rushing touchdowns than passing touchdowns. And that worries me. Okay, they need a guy who can go out there, pass the ball, score through the air, not just on his feet. Cam Newton, don't get me wrong, is a very, very good running quarterback, and he can be okay with the passing attack. But you're not going to get much out of him. He'd be a better wildcat, a better backup guy who's going to come in. But I think right from the get-go, you're going to see Cam Newton start, just because, like I said, he knows the playbook. Bill Belichick likes him. But I do think those first 4 games, Cam's going to struggle, and Bill's going to be like, what the hell with it. Let's go see what Mac Jones got. And if he doesn't have anything, all right, well, we'll go back to Cam, or we'll just keep Mac Jones if they're the similar play or whatever, or play style. But they're not going to be similar play style, obviously. But if they play, pretty similar like to the performance-wise, that's what I'm kind of talking about. But like I said, week 5, I got Mac Jones coming in and starting. So now, finally, those are all the round 1 quarterbacks. I know, right? Kind of crazy. But then we go to round 2. This is the last guy in round 2, pick 32 from the Buccaneers, Kyle Trask. Now, the Bleacher Report Gridiron had him, they said week 18, okay? And I have week 18 as well, unless, the Buccaneers are in a division battle. Now, if the Bucs end up solidifying that number 1 seed in the NFC South division before week 18, then yeah, okay, we might, honestly, we might see Kyle Trask come in and play, kind of just giving Tom Brady a rest right before playoffs to see what he's got. We've seen it last year when Patrick Mahomes, I believe, sat out the last week and stuff like that, and people are like, oh, if he sits out, it could be very bad, and they showed a statistic of all the quarterbacks that have sat out a game before the playoffs, and it wasn't good. And, Patrick Mahomes went all the way to the Super Bowl. Granted, he lost, but he still went to the Super Bowl. Still very good, and at the top of his game. So this is all right. Tom Brady's been here for, Jesus, God knows, since the beginning of time, okay? The dude's won 7 Super Bowls. He's literally unbelievable. He's going to break all the passing records, he's okay with missing a game. Probably not mentally, but if he knows he's the number 1 seed, he knows he's already in the playoffs, and he knows he's going to keep doing this and that, it'll be fine. He wants to see what Kyle Trask has done or is going to do and see if he's ready to take over this game or team. Now, they would obviously start Kyle Trask week 18, like I said, if they win that number 1 seed before. And they do this to see what exactly they got, okay, with the uncertainty really of Tom Brady's future. Because we don't. He did sign a 4-year contract that does only void to a 1-year contract, so this is his year. This is his contract right now. It's just pretty much, we kind of talked about this a little bit. I guess not entirely, but a lot about the 1-year contracts. But a lot of them were voidable, and we didn't really talk about that. So with Tom Brady, he signed a 4-year contract, 3 years voidable. It pretty much voids to a 1-year contract. What it does is they give him all this money, and they said they pretty much spreads the money out through those 4 years, okay? And we'll see what kind of happens with that. But for right now, Tom Brady is only on a 1-year contract. It's technically 4, but those 3 years after this year are really not there per se. It's just like I said, spreading the money out. So with that uncertainty of Tom Brady's future, if they do get that number 1 seed, they're going to see what they got with Kyle Trask. I mean, round 2 quarterback, went and played with at Florida and did pretty good. Okay, now this would be a very, very good idea, even though Week 18 is against their division opponent, the Carolina Panthers. But at the same time, Week 18 is against Carolina Panthers. Week 16 is also against Carolina Panthers. So let's say, Week 16 is that game. Tom Brady's playing. Bam, they win the division because of that game. I don't know why they would, but I don't know why they would because of that game. That's what I'm trying to say. But they win that game. They're number 1 seed in the division. I mean, Tom might play that next game in Week 17. And then in Week 18, well, then I think we see Kyle Trask. And especially, I think it'd be a good idea as well because it's a division opponent. You got to play him twice a year. Let's see what this guy got. Okay, let's see what he has. Can he beat a division opponent? Can he beat one of our main rivals? And I think that'd be a very good idea, especially in Week 18. Nothing to lose if you get number 1 seed. But, this is obviously Tom Brady's team. Okay, and Kyle Trask knows that. Now, Trask is really just there to see if he can be that quarterback of the future for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And I think he could be, especially with learning from Tom Brady. I mean, we've seen it. Now, I'm not sure 100% if it was Tom Brady's doing in New England when he, taught Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett, because then, Jimmy Garoppolo went to the 49ers, had some success. Jacoby Brissett had a little bit of success with New England when, I can't remember if it was, I think it was Tom was hurt, and then, went to the Colts, did all right. But I think Trask is going to take, go under, Tom Brady's going to take Kyle Trask under his wing and make him what we hope to be as a good quarterback. Okay, so, hey, Week 18, if they got the number 1 seed, start this man. Let's see. I want to see what Kyle Trask, is really all about. All right, so that was the only quarterback, obviously, in round 2. Now we're going to round 3. Okay, the Vikings drafted Kellen Mond, round 3, pick number 2. Now, he's not going to start. Okay. Now, he's not really... Okay, he won't start unless Kirk Cousins is either hurt or is performing very, very poorly. And, if I think we talked about yesterday, if you go look at Kirk Cousins' stats, very consistent, they're the same. He's just not going to win your primetime games, or he's not going to get you to that big stage. Okay, that's what he is. And if he does that and he continues to do what he has done, Kirk's going to be the guy, especially signing that 2-year contract extension, that's $60-some million. He's the guy. Okay, they just drafted Kellen Mond because, I don't know if you guys are sick of it, but I'm sick of it. We got the Sean Mannion era, we got the Taylor Heineke era, or Heineke, I can't really don't know how to say his last name 100%. But Taylor did, show that he's pretty good football player. Okay, with Washington last year, going up against Tampa Bay Buccaneers, damn near won that game. Okay, but this is a good time to finally, get away from those kind of awful, just, pick me up quarterbacks. One you find from the side of the street, you're like, hey, can you throw a ball? They're like, all right, sign this. Here you go. You're a backup. So I think that gives us a lot of, how do you want to say it? It makes us a little bit more relaxed knowing that if Kirk goes down, we're not like, shit, who's coming in now? Oh, God. And we'll automatically think we're probably going to lose. Where if Kellen Mond comes in because of that situation, I'd be like, all right, let's see what this guy got. He's quick on his feet. He can throw on the run. Not sure about his accuracy 100%, but, he played at Texas A&M. He's a Watson issue, okay? They went out and signed Tyrod Taylor. He was a free agent this year. Now, we've seen Tyrod Taylor play in the past, Cleveland Browns, Buffalo Bills, Los Angeles Chargers last year, and he's proven that he can play starting caliber football, but just hasn't had the best luck, okay? With this signing, if the Texans don't, have Watson as their guy, or let's say the first, he's suspended for 6 weeks or something crazy, or half the season, and he's not their guy, Tyrod is going to be the next guy up, obviously. Okay, he was even named the starter over Justin Herbert before he got stabbed in the chest in the wrong place, and that sucks. literally right before the Chiefs game, gets a shot and it goes into his lungs, and he can't breathe that well, and it's just a whole issue, and he loses his job. Sucks. He goes to Cleveland. Baker Mayfield gets drafted, out. He's at the Buffalo Bills. I believe it was Josh Allen at that time, or I can't remember really what happened there. We can talk about that later too. But he's had super bad luck. But Tyrod, this would be perfect scenario for him. With the uncertainty of Deshaun Watson this year, it's just, it goes Deshaun Watson, Tyrod Taylor, and then maybe Davis Mills. Davis Mills really ain't going to see the field unless for some reason he shows that he's the guy. He's a Stanford guy. But like I said, I highly doubt that Davis Mills is going to take a snap, probably for the next 2 to 3 years, okay, for the Texans. And that's with even him getting traded, getting out of there and stuff. I don't know enough about him, and I don't think we're going to see him hit the field, at least for sure, this year and next year. Okay, and if he does, hell yeah, brother, get her done. But, hey, who knows? So then we're going to go away from him, and, well, the Saints in round 4 at pick 28, they go and draft Ian Book. Again, not going to start, okay? Not going to start at all. With Drew Brees retiring, the Saints have had a little quarterback problem. Not really. They just kind of want to know who's going to be that starting guy. Okay, they got Jameis Winston, Taysom Hill. Okay? Really, they don't know. At least I think they don't know who's going to be the guy starting. My gut tells me it's going to be Jameis Winston. I just don't see Taysom Hill as that guy because he's more of a wildcat guy. He can be a weapon. He can be a dual threat. He can do everything where Jameis Winston is a quarterback. He was drafted for that high. He was drafted, number 1. So Jameis is probably going to be that guy. Now, one of those guys is going to be the starter, not Ian Book. Okay, Ian Book is really just there to be a practice squad player, which there's nothing wrong with, obviously. And he could even take that, that backup role and have Taysom Hill really come in for those wildcat situations where Ian Book really just sits and learns the playbook, learns what the Saints organization is all about, and kind of just take it all in, having that NFL experience. Okay, there's nothing wrong with being a practice squad player. Okay, you're still getting paid, not as much as you would like, but at the same time, hey, it's nothing bad. Okay, I just don't see Ian Book getting a start over those two guys. It is a Saints organization who has been very, very good, and I don't think they're ready to take a big risk in letting this guy, especially with coming out of the 4th round. Who knows? Okay, Tom Brady, yeah, granted he was Mr. Irrelevant, but shit, that's only once in a lifetime kind of thing right there. But like I said, just Ian Book not going to start. Okay, probably not for sure this year, not next year. I don't know. Maybe next year. We'll see. Who knows? But then we're going to go talk about the last quarterback that was drafted. Now, this is not undrafted. It's only drafted players. And this guy was drafted by the Colts, the 34th pick, which is a compensatory pick because there's only 32 teams in the NFL, but in round 6, okay? Sam Ellinger. I think I said that. Ellinger or Ellinger. It's probably Ellinger, but he's not going to start at all either, okay? The Colts just drafted Sam for literally extra depth, and like I said, for Ian Book, okay, more than likely a practice squad player, somebody who's going to be able to go in there and, play solid football, okay? Give him good looks for the defense, or not defensively. Well, yeah, I guess defensively, because he would be that practice squad offense going against the starting defense and stuff like that. Excuse me. Eesh. Burping kind of day, you know what I'm saying? Hey. But anyways, okay, the Colts needed a quarterback going to this offseason, okay? And they really have, look, Peyton Manning. Then what do you go to, what's his name? Was it Curtis Painter? Awful. And then Andrew Luck, a stud, retired out of nowhere. But hey, he's probably doing something awesome. Don't know where he went, to be honest. Never heard too much about him besides his dad. His dad was the most recent of that family, he was the commissioner of the XFL, Oliver Luck. But then you go and you got Jacoby Brissett. You don't really know what you got there. So then, bam, you go and you're going to go trade for Carson Wentz. Okay, Carson Wentz, obviously going to be that Colts starter. We've talked about it. He's going back to Frank Reich. Hey, we've talked about it. I don't need to fill your ear with all that nonsense anymore. But also, if Carson just can't get the job done, which we kind of seen last year, granted it could have been with all the relationships in Philadelphia and how things were kind of panning out, But if he can't get the job done, which I believe is very unlikely, Jacob Eason's probably going to be the guy to go out there and be the next man up. Now, Jacob has really no experience, hasn't thrown a ball in the NFL. I think he took, preseason snaps. So, Sam could put up a fight for that number 2-3 spot over Jacob Eason because Eason hasn't played, and neither has Sam. So he could put up a good fight to try to get that, but I just don't believe Carson Wentz will perform as poorly as he did with the Eagles last season, and he's going to be the Colts guy going forward the entire season and probably within the near future. And who knows, maybe retire Colt. He is very, very young, so he could be on the move another time down the road. But for right now, I just don't believe Carson Wentz is going to, play like dog shit. Okay, I'll put it that way. So have Carson Wentz starting. Sam Ellinger's not going to start at all this season. He might take a snap or two if Carson gets hurt and actually beats out Jacob Eason, but yeah, he's not going to. Well, that is all I got for you guys today as I try to keep it, short and sweet. What do we got? 45 minutes, so that's all right. It's kind of average, 45 to an hour a little bit, but it's been a good couple of days here this Monday and Tuesday. We had a very, very nice day yesterday at 70-some degrees, and then today we have gloomy day. I wouldn't say shitty day, kind of gloomy day because it's only sprinkled. It's all right, whatever. We have to deal with it. It's okay. But it's been a good couple of days, and we still got a lot more to talk about going forward. So with that being said, thanks for tuning in. Hey, we'll see you tomorrow. And you just got your fix with the Wicks. Thank you for joining in.